Hi, my beautiful souls. So, I've been receiving so many clear messages from my guides these days, and I've been feeling this pull to share with you guys whatever I'm receiving, whatever is being so important to listen to in my life right now, because I know that if you're resonating with my energy, that these messages are also for you. So, today I am going to talk a little bit about how we can speed up our deconditioning process. So, for those of you that know human design, what it's really all about, what human design is really all about when we use this tool and so many other tools, is about deconditioning or peeling off the layers that we have used to cover our real selves up because we wanted to fit in, because we were afraid, because we didn't feel safe. Most of all, because of the illusion of separation that we believed in. And that now, as we can see, as we are starting to remember that we are spiritual beings and that we are having this earthly experience, but that we are also having this experience of rising in consciousness and understanding how powerful we are peeling off these layers. So, the first thing my guides told me was that one of the most important things in this deconditioning process is not getting stuck in the deconditioning. So, what do I mean? Is that there is this belief that we start attaching to when we are deconditioning and we are figuring all this stuff out, that there's so much more work for us to do. We start kind of peeling off our layers. We start realizing the limiting beliefs that we've been living with, and they start peeling off little by little. It's not that easy, but when we realize all of the stuff we've peeled off, inevitably we also realize all of the stuff there is left to peel off. And it's like we can start getting this feeling of never-ending work that needs to be done for us to reach a certain place. And so when we start attaching to this feeling, we start feeding the idea of separation again. We start feeding the idea that there's something that needs to be done for us to be able to be in a higher place or to reach a higher state of consciousness. And so it's kind of like we're rewinding if we're attaching to this idea that there's so much more work to be done, so much more deconditioning to be done, even if you're like, I want to live my design perfectly, and you're constantly thinking about it, and you're not feeling joy inside or peace inside, or it's not leading to good feelings, to enjoyment, then you're probably being asked to let go a little bit. So the first message is, we need to leave behind this idea that there is so much left to decondition. That's so important right now, is to leave behind this idea that there's so much left to decondition. Because remember that our minds separate everything and put everything into this linear form, and so we start believing that when we get there, that's when we're gonna be okay or happy or ascended or awake or whatever. But we need to sink into the present moment and realize that we already are all of the things, that we already are all powerful. So that takes me to my second point, which says that the most important way that we can get in touch with our real self, with our capital S self, is through the present moment. So I put this in my last post because it's such a strong message that's coming in for me and for you guys, is that the present moment is the perfect way to let go of all of the limits and all of the stuck energies and conditioning that you have. Is just stepping into the present moment and living that present moment. And what's been really helpful for me lately is to see ourselves as a vehicle. That's what human design, right? Human design teaches us. See yourself as a vehicle. This is your vehicle. You've been living all your life thinking that you are your body, that you are this, and you are your mind, and it's so limited. And now you're starting to see that you're so much greater, right? So see yourself as a vehicle. See your body as this vehicle, and then live through it. Stop trying to control it. And one thing that's been helping me is then seeing myself as a vehicle and taking a step back and realizing that I can observe how life happens through me. That things aren't happening because I am making them happen or controlling them in a certain way. Things are happening through me. I'm just a vehicle. And so it helps me to take kind of that detached look, and it makes life seem a lot more magical. It makes life seem a lot more on purpose, and it gives me less want to control things. So that was the second point, is get in touch with the self through the present moment. Get in touch with the self that has no conditioning at all through the present moment, because every single present moment for you can be a wipe, can be a clean slate. Let go of all of this idea that you have so much work to do, so much more left to decondition, right? And step into the present moment and clean slate. Almost like forgetting who you are. Forget the story and see if you can sink into that present moment and just be. And the more you're able to do that and practice that, the more you'll see that there are moments where you're able to just be, where all that conditioning is going to not exist in that moment. The more you can tune into these moments and recognize yourself in there as that true self, the more that conditioning is not going to matter anymore. You're not going to have that list to decondition, because you're getting in touch every time with that self and recognizing who you are and how powerful you are. So another thing that my guides mentioned that I thought was so important is that we get a lot of talk of present moment, right? Present moment, the power of now, and all this stuff. And it's important to realize that it's not about you're not living in the present moment, you're doing things wrong, you shouldn't be thinking. We also have to detach from these like dogmatic things that even spiritual teachers have been teaching us, because the mind, again, brings it back to what we're doing wrong and what we still need to accomplish to be able to get there. So the thing with the present moment is it's not so much about not doing certain things. It's more about, what they said is it's more about acceptance, detachment, and non-judgment. So it's more about, again, taking like that observing look, that non-judgment kind of detached look at what's going on, and realizing that every single thought that you're having about it, every single feeling that you're having about it is a construct from your past and from your experience, and even from your grandmas and grandpas and generations back experience that is causing you to have a reaction to what's going on. And then you can see that you don't have to act upon that reaction. So it's an acceptance that the present moment brings. It's a non-judgment that the present moment brings. That's what we need to be focusing on more than anything. And then lastly, with tools like human design and any tool that you might be using that is helping you feel more aligned, right? That's the only reason why you're using a tool. Any tool at all is because it's helping you feel better. It's helping you feel more aligned. There's something that rings true when you work with it to your soul. That's the only reason you should be using a tool, not because somebody told you to. So when you are using a tool, that's okay, that's good. You can deliberately use a tool, but then you have to let go of everything that you know about it. Because if not, again, what's going to happen is your mind might get too fixated on that tool. It might get too fixated on what you're doing wrong or what you need to be doing next. So spend some time using the tool. Say, for example, take a mentorship with me with human design, or take an online course about human design, or hire a human design coach, whatever it is, or study human design on your own. Spend some time doing that. But when you go off and do your life, forget about that and wipe the slate clean, so that every single new moment that's coming into your life can come in fresh, with a fresh perspective, with as little filtering as possible. So use the tools, but don't get too attached to the tools. Use the tools, but let them go after you're done using them. So these are the messages that came through to me, and I really hope that they are helpful for you. So let me just recap quickly. We have to start leaving behind this idea that there's so much more work to do. You're perfect right now and you're whole right now, and we're all ascending right now into higher levels of consciousness. We can get in touch with that version of ourselves that has no conditioning at all, that fresh version of ourselves. How? Through the present moment, not through believing that we are wrong for being thinking in this present moment and that we just need to be, so present right now, but mostly about accepting whatever's coming our way and observing it from a non-judgmental point of view. And use your tools. Keep using them for sure, but just watch not to get attached. Use them deliberately. Okay? I love you guys.